All right, this leads our bulletin this hour. A 28-year-old man is expected to appear in court very soon in relation to the statutory rape of a minor in Limpopo. The 13-year-old girl is one of several teenagers who gave birth on Christmas Day. The 28-year-old man is alleged to have impregnated the little girl. Now, according to the World Health Organization's 2024 figures, South Africa has one of the highest rates of teenage pregnancy, with nearly 1 in 4 girls giving birth before the age of 20. To discuss this, we are now joined by Limpopo Premier Dr. Phophi Ramathuba. Dr. Ramathuba, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. It would seem, Premier, that as teenage pregnancies rise in the country, the ages of these young girls decreases too. I mean, you will recall last year when you were still Health MEC in Limpopo, a 15-year-old girl gave birth on Christmas Day. This year, a 13-year-old girl giving birth on Christmas Day, causing shockwaves again. But gratefully, we're seeing that arrest. Just your reaction on this particular incident.
Good morning, Unati, and morning to all your viewers out there, and Merry Christmas to you. Yes, indeed, this is concerning, as you have correctly put it, that year in, year out, we continue to express our being shocked with all this and what is currently happening. But we have realized that the challenge is we are not being decisive and we are not taking strong actions against perpetrators. We continue to report statistics and we continue to be raising alarm and be shocked. But without us, I mean, if you remember last year, one said, at that time I was still in health, to say until such time we get one of these older men who prey on our children getting arrested and successfully being convicted, we are not going to win on this matter. Early this year, late this year, just around November, when we close our 16 days of activism, end of November, we had a summit as the provincial government, because we put up a team of MECs, Health, Social Development, Community Safety, Provincial Commissioner, and we said to them during the opening of the legislature in July this year, after our appointment, that as the 7th administrators, we are going to bring, administration will bring all stakeholders together and have this summit and come up with the way forward where we are going to act and we are going to be decisive. We know we will be hated somewhere, but we have to do something. And when we receive the reports, because the MEC for Health reported to us that they, out of the 172 babies that were delivered, 31, which has increased from last year, 31 are teenage mothers. And then she says, the painful is that we've got a 13-year-old. That is when we immediately activated that team of 3 MECs to make sure that she goes to visit the child and the baby, and also we started the process. We then contacted the provincial commissioner, and we want to appreciate police this time around, because what would happen in the past, sometimes you open cases, no one follow them up, no one is arrested, but probably this time, because it's the premier who's saying it and leading from the front, the man has been arrested, and we welcome that. And we are saying we'll follow this case up until such time when we know there is successful conviction and an example it's set to all men. We're saying this, Unat, if we're successful on this particular case, if we're successful, what it means is that for all those men out there, they will start to think twice before they unzip.
And I mean, what you've touched there, Premier, is very important because it does speak to political will. You know, if you have a premier leading from the front, if you have the Minister of Health leading from the front, then action will be taken, which is why a lot of the time communities are concerned. Yes, it is a societal problem. Yes, it is also speaks to a lot of societal issues, economic issues, but it is very disheartening to see that there is no coordinated effort when it comes to such incidences. For instance, one wonders why there is no system at hospital level where, for instance, where you see teenage, children who are giving birth, why it's not immediately reported on that particular day instead of being put in a report and having those people be arrested immediately. We've been talking about stories about teachers, also being implicated in such cases, and we still are sitting with nobody being held accountable. And that is the problem here. We are talking about, is there a lack of political will? Why was the suspect only arrested after an uproar, after, the child gave birth? Is there a coordinated effort between the various departments that you've also mentioned here, Premier?
I think the issue is not only blaming a politician and political will. We must also, besides, of course, the parents, because we know they are also involved in conniving. The parents' damages get paid. I mean, even with this one, we had to tell her to say, do you know what the Act says about sexual offences? The Criminal Act says we can arrest you, and we had to be firm and indicate to the family that remember, this guy has also violated me personally as a premier, because every child in the province, it's supposed to be my child, and I'm supposed to protect every single child. Therefore, when you rape a child in Limpopo, you are violating me. Therefore, it means I have a right to open a criminal case against you. But then it goes to the professionals. Like, for instance, in this case, we need to follow up with our educators. So this time around, they've let us down. When this child has been going to school and they can see those that have been able to realize that she's pregnant and not raising alarm, it becomes a problem for us. We go to the nurses when she attended the antenatal clinic, because I'm told she did visited once, and one nurse, at that time she was 12. Remember, she giving birth at 13, meaning 9 months ago, she was still 12, meaning she was raped at the age of 12. So when they wanted to open, to take her to Zela, they claimed that the parents, the mother and the grandmother ran away and disappeared with her. But we still feel that a lot could have been done there. But also, like I was telling one of your sister news, to say, the other challenge we are having is that if our statutory bodies, like your Health Professional Council, your South African Nursing Council, do not come on board. I'm saying this because I had an argument with some of the doctors to say, according to their Health Professional Council, they are not supposed to divulge any information they would have obtained as a result of a doctor-patient relation. So in this case, when you are attending to a pregnant minor and you have acquired that information as a doctor because she's your patient, you can't divulge. And we need to clear this to say the Child Protection Act, the Children's Act itself, and the Constitution of the Republic supersedes that Health Professional Council. And they must also clarify to say they are not referring to this because, like I'm saying, there is a criminal act in terms of the sexual offenses that is very clear that if you keep quiet, as amended, I think 2007, if you keep quiet when there is such an act and you have seen, you've got evidence, you yourself must be held criminal liable. So all we are saying is that we're calling upon this statutory body to say, call upon all your members that when they don't report these cases, they must know that they themselves are violating the very same ethics that they must protect because they are committing a criminal act. So if we do that, there is nobody who will be able to protect these perpetrators. They won't have any place to hide, because if parents protect them, the parents of the children, the educators will not protect them, our nurses at antenatal will not protect, our doctors and midwives at delivery room will not protect them. Therefore, we will be able to win, and then we will come in working with our police and the justice system and be able to make sure that there is successful prosecution. And once a person is convicted, men out there will think twice to say anyone's daughter remains your daughter, and you must treat them like your own child. You cannot be sleeping with your child. There is no such a thing that a 12-year-old can fall in love with a 27-year-old, such that at 28 you are saying, I'm a father of a baby delivered by a 13-year-old.
Yeah. And Minister, on that point about the justice system, I want to stay there a little bit, because this is obviously going to be a balancing act, particularly as you look at coordinated efforts between various departments. So, for instance, when we speak about the education department, we talk about just having this comprehensive sexual education where it's not taboo to talk about sexual related issues. And we also have the healthcare department that speaks about the care of young mothers and young children when they seek help. But also the concern comes in as far as the justice system is concerned, that we are not seeing the many convictions that we should be seeing. I was speaking to the Minister Chikunga earlier on, and she was giving us the numbers in terms of those that actually have their cases appear in court. Those cases are not successful. Then there's the case, of course, of the law enforcement authorities like the SAPS and how they treat those cases. Just in the next coming days, given these shocking results, following Christmas, what are those steps that should be taken, particularly when it comes to justice being served and having those successful convictions?
I think we must all agree that for any judge or magistrate to hand over a favorable judgment to us, we should have a strong case and be able to present our facts. I'm saying this because, as you are saying, most of our rapists, they get arrested today. 2 days later, they are out on bail, loitering. This time around, don't only rape, they even kill. Now, we are saying during our summit, we made a clear diagnosis to say it starts when a girl child or a woman or any female has been sexually abused, from the investigating officer. They have to change how they do their things. Our police stations are now equipped with dedicated police that deals, there is a unit that deals with sexual offenses. Now, when a woman goes to report, starting to judge what is she wearing and whatever, already you have handed over the judgment on behalf of the judge. As an investigating officer who should be able to assist the judge to hand over a life sentence to that perpetrator. Then when the police take her to the Tutuzela Center, in some of our hospitals, we don't have Tutuzela Center yet. We're still using our casualty. The doctors there and the forensic nurses that are there, you would, some of the rape victims, when I was having dialogue with them, they would say, you will be told by nurses that the doctor is busy with ward rounds. You are subjected to sit there, you have not bathed, you have to wait until, and then while you are waiting, another, somebody comes drunk, having stab wound, went to the tavern, because there is blood, they leave everything, they run to say this is an emergency. You, as a victim of sexual abuse, you are not seen as an emergency. That is another failure. She's being raped again. That's what we call secondary rape. Then again, there is no social worker on duty or a psychologist to come and prepare you psychologically as a victim and deal with you. Then move what comes to our prosecutors, they don't even, they will tell you because of workload. They don't even have meetings where they will sit with the entire team from the investigating officer to the victim and prepare and all the witnesses and prepare the case.
And
now
Premier,
that is where we fail in terms of the prosecution.
And Premier, I think what you're raising is what a lot of sexual violence victims know and have been telling us for several years. Just listening and hearing in our intro, of course, that according to the World Health Organization's latest stats of 2024, you know, that South Africa has one of the highest rates of teenage pregnancies, with nearly 1 in 4 giving birth before the age of 20. As we wrap our conversation, listening to those statistics, where do you think we are continuing to fail, given the fact that you've also just raised the point that not every province has a Thuthuzela center where there should be one? Where are we failing? I mean, this picture is not going to change anytime soon.
Every hospital has got a doctor in casualty who has been trained to can collect any DNA or any samples or examine any rape victim. Every hospital has got a social worker or a psychologist. Every police station has got a police woman or man who is assigned to deal with these cases. All what we are saying is that with the current resources that we have, the only thing that we don't have is not the state, is the state of attitude. It's the passion that we need from those who are serving the public. Once there is that commitment, and for all of us, like I'm giving an example from a school teacher who picked up this problem, up to the doctor who attend to the patient at the hospital, to the prosecutor, and then the magistrate or the judge will have facts and will be able to arrest. Until such time we successfully prosecute and we see conviction, somebody going for 15 years and or life sentence for having slept with a 12-year-old, because that is statutory rape in terms of the law of this country. So all I'm saying is that it's in our hands, all of us. We can blame politicians, we can blame parents, we can blame poverty, but you who is a professional working in that police station, in that clinic, in that hospital, and you are doing nothing, you are equally secondary raping this girl child. I am sorry to say this, it might be unpopular, but that is a fact. You see the crime, you don't report, you don't do anything, you want to blame others. So for me, I'm saying, in our summit, we took a decision as a province that the Premier is going to lead this fight together with our 3 MECs and our Provincial Commissioner of Police, and we have started no turning back. Anyone who think about committing this crime in our province, you will find us waiting for you.
All right, Dr. Phophi Ramathuba, thank you so much for your time, ma'am. That is, of course, Limpopo's Premier, just speaking around the latest statistics around teenage pregnancies. In fact, in Limpopo province, a 28-year-old man has since been arrested for statutory rape following the 13-year-old girl who gave birth on Christmas Day.